My husband abandoned me in the rain, 37 miles from home, claiming I needed a lesson. I stayed silent, watching his car vanish into the storm. Moments later, a black truck pulled up. My brother Marcus stepped out, calm and prepared, umbrella in hand. I climbed in with a quiet smile. Andrew's cruelty was over. This was his final mistake. I hit record on my phone and tucked it into my pocket as Andrew's Mercedes rolled into the deserted rest stop. The air was heavy, rain imminent. "Get out," he said, engine idling. "You need a lesson, Audrey. Walking home might teach you respect." 37 miles. No Uber, no buses, a calculated choice. But he didn't know I'd been recording him for 8 months. Marcus was already waiting behind the old gas station, ready for my signal. The leather seat creaked as I turned to him. Andrew's jaw was tight, smug, like when he closed a ruthless deal at his hedge fund. Just 3 hours ago, we'd been toasting our anniversary at Morton's Steakhouse, his charm masking the storm brewing. Now, he was stranding me on a lonely highway because I dared question a missing $10,000 from our account. "You're really doing this?" I asked, keeping my voice steady, letting my phone capture every word. "You went behind my back, Audrey, calling my accountant, embarrassing me with your paranoid questions. A long walk in the rain might remind you who controls the money here." I thought of the pearl earring I'd found under our bed 2 days ago, Nanes. That $10,000 probably bought her something shiny. I didn't say it. Not yet. Everything had to unfold as Marcus and I had planned. "A storm's coming," I said, nodding at the darkening sky. "Then start walking," he snapped, fingers drumming the steering wheel. "Unless you want to apologize now and admit you were wrong." 6 months ago, I'd have begged for forgiveness, believing our marriage could be salvaged. Back then, I didn't know about his company's secret books, the strange withdrawals, the accounts he'd opened in my name but controlled himself. When I started asking questions, his cruelty sharpened. Tonight was his worst move, and his fatal error. "I'll walk," I said, opening the door. "Good choice. Maybe by the time you get home, you'll know your place." I stepped onto the cracked asphalt. The rest stop was a ghost town, boarded windows, weeds strangling the lot. Andrew had chosen it for its desolation. He'd mentioned it last week, casually, as we drove past. "Imagine being stuck here," he'd said. That's when I knew his plan. His Mercedes roared as he checked his phone, likely texting Nain his victory. Then he sped off, tires screeching, leaving me in the growing dark. I counted to 60, watching his taillights fade. Then I walked to the gas station where Marcus's black Ford waited. My brother stepped out with an umbrella and a thermos of coffee, his face a mix of concern and resolve. "Did you get it all?" he asked. "Every word." I stopped the recording. "He said I need to remember my place." Marcus shook his head. 3 years of his control was bad enough. But this? He gestured at the empty lot. "This is criminal." "Rebecca will love this recording," I said, taking the coffee, its warmth seeping into my chilled hands. Rain began to fall, heavy drops smacking the pavement. By morning, Andrew would expect me to limp home, soaked and humbled, ready to beg. He was wrong. "Is Valentina set?" I asked. "She's been tracking the accounts all night. That $10,000 he moved today? She's got it pinned. Her audit spans 2 years, offshore accounts, fake tax forms. He's been planning to ditch you once he'd hidden enough. And Rebecca's filing emergency papers at 9 a.m. abandonment, financial abuse, fraud. With this recording and our evidence, he's finished." We climbed into Marcus's truck as the rain hammered the windshield. I pictured Andrew at home, smug, maybe sipping scotch to celebrate breaking me. He didn't know that 8 months ago, when I first spotted his secret transfers, I'd built my own team. Marcus had installed cameras in our house, disguised as security upgrades. Valentina, a forensic accountant who specialized in financial abuse, traced every cent. Rebecca, a relentless divorce attorney, had a case file that filled 3 boxes. The house cameras caught everything, Marcus said, checking his phone. Last Tuesday, while you were at Mom's, he brought Nain over. They used your bed. A cold resolve settled in my chest, not heartbreak, that was long gone, but something sharp and certain. He's been planning this for a while, I said. The control, the money games, isolating me from friends, it's textbook abuse. Rebecca says judges hate husbands who abandon their wives to punish them. Marcus took back roads through the storm to avoid Andrew spotting us. We'd mapped this route weeks ago, even rehearsed it. Every detail mattered. The hotel room was booked under my maiden name, paid with cash Marcus had withdrawn over 2 months. My clothes and copies of our evidence were already there, hidden in a locked suitcase. He'll come looking when you don't show up tonight, Marcus said. Let him. The hotel cameras will show me checking in, drenched and shaken. The desk clerk will say I was too upset to speak clearly. Rebecca coached me on how to sell it. The rain poured harder as we neared the city. Andrew was probably home now, on his second drink, maybe bragging to Nain about his lesson. Tomorrow, he'd wake expecting me defeated. Instead, he'd find his accounts frozen, his office locked, and federal agents asking about the holes Valentina found in his hedge fund's books. Are you ready? Marcus asked as the hotel loomed. I thought of the woman I was 3 years ago, independent, thriving, before Andrew dismantled my confidence. I thought of his voice on my phone, ordering me to walk 37 miles in a storm. I thought of Nain's earring, the drained accounts, the secret prenup that would have left me penniless. I've been ready for 8 months, I said. He just handed me the last piece I needed. Marcus pulled up to the hotel's side entrance. I grabbed the small bag we'd packed, just enough to sell the story of a desperate escape, and stepped into the storm. It was time to play the broken wife, scared and alone. By tomorrow, Andrew would see who'd outsmarted whom. The hotel lobby's bright lights stung after the dark outside. Rain dripped from my hair onto the marble floor as I shuffled to the front desk, trembling just enough to look convincing. The night clerk, a young woman with kind eyes, rushed over with towels. "Oh honey, are you okay?" she asked, draping one over my shoulders. "My husband," I said, voice cracking, "he ditched me at a rest stop in this storm. I walked miles before someone helped me." Her face shifted from worry to shock, exactly what I needed. Every word would go into the hotel's report, just as Rebecca had planned. She led me to a chair, handed me hot tea, and checked me in. I used my maiden name, Audrey Harrison, and paid with the secret credit card I'd opened 6 months ago, one Andrew didn't know existed. Room 412 was small but tidy, city lights smudged by rain beyond the window. I locked the door, slid the chain on, and exhaled deeply. I pulled out the burner phone Marcus gave me and replayed the car recording. Andrew's voice cut through, cold and sharp. "You think you're so smart, huh? Snooping with my accountant, asking about our money like you'd get it." My voice stayed even. "It's our money, Andrew. I deserve to know where it's going." "Our money?" His laugh was venomous. "I earn it. I handle it. You blow it on overpriced groceries and those pointless charity lunches, $70 for organic vegetables last week, Audrey, $70. I remembered that grocery trip, for the dinner party he insisted on hosting for his clients. He'd spent $800 on wine that night without blinking. The recording continued. "You humiliated me at the Morrisons' party, arguing about European markets in front of my colleagues. Where do you even get those ideas? Some talk show. I have an MBA from Northwestern, Andrew. I worked in finance for 5 years before you. Before I saved you from that dead-end job, you mean? You were stuck with penny stocks at a no-name firm. I gave you a life you'd never have had. I closed my eyes, recalling my days at Henderson Investments. I hadn't managed penny stocks, I oversaw a $30 million portfolio. But Andrew rewrote my past so often, I sometimes doubted myself. My phone buzzed. Marcus texted, Valentina found 3 more accounts in the Caymans. He's been hiding money for 18 months. 18 months. That's when things changed. Separate accounts for tax reasons, a new financial advisor out of nowhere, papers he urged me to sign without reading, saying, it's routine, trust me. Another text, from Rebecca. Judge Coleman set an emergency hearing for 2 p.m. tomorrow. Bring the recording. Judge Coleman was a legend for seeing through men like Andrew. She'd ruled for the wives in 3 major financial abuse cases this year. Rebecca had timed our filing perfectly. I changed into dry clothes from the bag I'd stashed here yesterday, then sat at the desk, writing. Not the court statement Rebecca would polish, but notes to reclaim who I was before Andrew's gaslighting. I listed the promotion I'd declined because he said the travel would strain our marriage. The investment I'd spotted that could have tripled my savings, if I'd had any left. The college friend I'd lost when Andrew called her jealous. My phone rang, Andrew's ringtone. I let it go to voicemail, recording it on my burner phone. Audrey, this is silly. It's been 3 hours. You've learned your lesson. Call me, and I'll pick you up. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. 10 minutes later, another call, his tone sharper. I know you have your phone. Stop acting like a child and call me. I'm not worried, I'm going to bed. Figure it out. I heard the crack in his voice. He was rattled. I always called back by now, always apologized, always came running. My silence was unraveling his plan. At midnight, Nain called. I almost ignored it but answered, staying silent. Audrey? Her voice trembled. Andrew asked me to call. He's worried. He said you fought, and you're not answering. He's sorry and wants you home. Andrew never apologized. Sending his mistress to fake remorse showed how shaken he was. I hung up without speaking. By 1 a.m., calls came every 15 minutes, Andrew, his mom Margaret, his partner James. I logged each one, numbers, times, their growing panic. A deserted wife was supposed to beg, not vanish. I ordered room service with the secret card, soup, salad, a glass of wine. The receipt would show I was calm, not broken as Andrew expected. At 2:30 a.m., a text from Mrs. Chin, our neighbor, made me smile. Saw Andrew in the driveway with a flashlight, checking under your car. Then he sped off. Everything okay? He was hunting for my car, unaware Marcus had moved it to a parking garage across town 2 days ago. More proof I'd been planning my exit, and his stunt just accelerated it. I parted the curtains, watching the storm tear through Minneapolis. Andrew's perfect world was crumbling. He thought he'd taught me a lesson in control. Tomorrow, when markets opened and he found his offshore accounts frozen, his office key card dead, and federal investigators asking about Valentina's findings, he'd see who held the power. The rain battered the window, relentless. 8 months of planning, playing the quiet wife while building a case to ruin him, it all led to this moment, a storm he'd unleashed himself. I set my alarm for 7, needing to look shattered for the emergency hearing. Rebecca would meet me at noon to prep, but for now, in these quiet hours, I sat in the dark, feeling a freedom I hadn't known in 3 years. At 7 a.m., sunlight pierced the hotel curtains. I'd been up since 5, checking our joint account on my laptop. The balance was as expected. Andrew had moved $20,000 at 6:47 a.m., scrambling to hide it. Too late. Valentina had already locked everything down. By noon, my hotel suite was a war room. Valentina arrived first, dragging 2 suitcases stuffed with documents, her makeup smudged from an all-nighter. She spread bank statements, wire transfers, and fake tax forms across the table, each pile neatly labeled with colored tabs. The Cayman accounts were frozen at 9 this morning, she said, opening a spreadsheet. Andrew tried accessing them at dawn, 3 failed logins. He's probably trashing his office right now. Rebecca strode in, phone to her ear, tossing out legal jargon I barely followed. She hung up and nodded sharply. Judge Coleman moved our hearing to 1 o'clock. She wants this done fast. Also, Andrew hired Richard Blackwood. The shark? Marcus asked, carrying a box of surveillance gear. The one who saved that pharma exec last year. Blackwood's expensive, Andrew must have sold something big to afford him. My stomach twisted, but Rebecca's steady hand calmed me. Blackwood's slick, but he can't beat video proof and bank records. He's starting blind. We've had 8 months to prepare. Marcus hooked his laptop to the TV, pulling up footage from our house. These clips are tough, Audrey, he warned. The first showed Andrew in his study at 2 a.m., 3 weeks ago. I was upstairs, knocked out by the sleeping pills he'd pushed for my anxiety. He photographed papers from our safe, investments, my mom's power of attorney, the lake house deed, then replaced them perfectly. He's been forging duplicates, Valentina said. Subtle changes to swap out the originals. You'd have lost everything if you hadn't noticed. The next clip stung deeper, Andrew and Nain in our living room 2 months ago, when he claimed he was at a client dinner. She wore my silk robe from our Paris honeymoon, laughing over something on his phone. Turn it up, I said, my gut churning. Andrew's voice filled the room. She bought the mandatory conference excuse. I've got her trained. A few more months, and everything's transferred. Then we drop this act. Nain's laugh was like broken glass. Her prenup really leaves her with nothing? Prenup's irrelevant. She won't fight. Audrey's too weak. By the time she figures it out, we'll be in Costa Rica, and she'll be too broken to care. Marcus paused the video. The room was silent except for the AC's hum. I walked to the window, staring at the city. Somewhere, Andrew was panicking, computer locked, assistant unable to reach the bank, his world collapsing. There's more, Marcus said softly. Keep going. I nodded. The next clip showed Andrew pacing in our garage last Tuesday, during my book club. Jennifer's been perfect, he said into his phone. She doesn't know I'm recording her. She spilled everything, Audrey's mom's Alzheimer's, the hidden trust fund from their dad. Nearly $2 million, and Audrey doesn't even know it's there. My knees buckled. Jennifer, my little sister, who I'd bailed out of gambling debts for years, had been feeding Andrew our family's secrets. When did he contact her? I whispered. Valentina flipped through phone records. First call, 13 months ago. Regular contact started 10 months back, always when you were out. He paid her debts for info. Rebecca checked her watch. Court's in 30 minutes. Audrey, ready to face him? I turned from the window. Show me the rest first. I need to know it all. Marcus opened another folder. These are from his office computer, pulled by IT before his access was cut this morning. Emails between Andrew and his lawyer flashed on screen, dated 6 months ago. Subject, Project Fresh Start. They detailed plans to divorce me, with steps to make me doubt myself, drain my finances, and escalate emotional abuse to keep me docile in court. One line seared into me, that the trick is to make her think she's losing it. Gaslight her daily, hide things, deny talks, twist her memories. By the time we file, she'll be too fragile to fight. I remembered the past year, Andrew insisting I'd forgotten things. The dinner reservation he swore I never made. The conversation about visiting my parents he claimed never happened. My jewelry vanishing, then reappearing in odd places. I'd started writing things down, fearing I was losing my mind. He'd been following a playbook. This lawyer, Douglas Stern, specializes in brutal divorces, leaving one spouse with nothing, Rebecca said. He's under investigation for ethics violations. Valentina revealed one final file. This triggered our emergency filing. Yesterday, before ditching you, Andrew moved $3.2 million from his hedge fund's client accounts to a personal one in Panama. He thought he had more time. He was running, I realized, the truth slamming home. The abandonment wasn't just control. He knew he was cornered. The SEC got an anonymous tip yesterday about his fund's shady reports, Rebecca said, a slight smirk breaking through. Valentina's work forced us to report it. Andrew's crimes overwhelmed me. This wasn't just about our marriage or his affair. He was a thief, using me as a shield while looting clients' savings, planning to ruin those who trusted him. Judge Coleman needs to see everything, I said, steeling myself. Every record, tape, and shred of proof. Rebecca's smile was fierce, a reminder of why she'd never lost a financial abuse case. She'll see it all. Andrew Mitchell's about to learn what losing everything feels like. The courthouse halls gleamed with marble and dark wood, built to intimidate. I strode through in my sharp navy suit, bought last month for this moment. Rebecca walked beside me, briefcase in hand, Marcus flanking my other side. We entered courtroom 4B at 12:55 p.m. Andrew sat with Richard Blackwood, whose costly haircut couldn't hide the stress in his eyes. Andrew looked diminished, rumpled clothes, dark circles, his usual swagger gone. He'd clearly slept in his office. When he saw me, his face twisted from exhaustion to fury. "All rise," the bailiff called. Judge Patricia Coleman swept in, her black robes commanding silence. She sat, adjusting her reading glasses, and scanned the documents before her. "We're here for Audrey Mitchell's emergency petition on marital assets and spousal abandonment," she said, her voice carrying the weight of countless cases. "Mr. Blackwood, I see you were hired this morning." "Yes, Your Honor." "We request a continuance to prepare." "Denied." "Your client allegedly abandoned his wife in dangerous conditions last night. Time is critical." She turned to Rebecca. "Counselor, your evidence." Rebecca stood, smooth and confident. "Your Honor, at 8:47 p.m. yesterday, Andrew Mitchell abandoned his wife at a rest stop 37 miles from home in a severe storm. We have audio proof." She played the recording, Andrew's voice chilling the room. "You need a lesson, Audrey. Walking home might teach you respect." Andrew paled. Blackwood whispered urgently, but Andrew waved him off, hands flailing. Additionally, Rebecca continued, Mr. Mitchell hid marital assets for 18 months. We have records of $8 million in offshore accounts and $3.2 million embezzled from his hedge fund. Objection, Blackwood shot up. These claims lack proof. Then let's prove them, Rebecca said calmly, handing over bank records. Exhibits A through F, Your Honor. Wire transfers to the Caymans, all by Mr. Mitchell, without his wife's knowledge. Judge Coleman's face darkened as she read. "Mr. Mitchell, did you abandon your wife last night?" Andrew stood, adjusting his tie. "Your Honor, it was a misunderstanding." We argued. "Yes or no, Mr. Mitchell?" "I left her at a rest stop, but it was storming, 37 miles from home. She had her phone. She could have called someone." The judge's eyebrows rose. "How thoughtful." She nodded to Rebecca. "Continue." Rebecca displayed financial records on the courtroom screen. Mr. Mitchell also had an affair with his assistant, Nain Rodriguez, using marital funds for gifts and trips, including a $12,000 pearl necklace he reported stolen but gave to her. My phone buzzed. Marcus texted, "He's here." The doors opened, and Tom Chin from the SEC entered with two federal agents. Andrew's head snapped around, eyes wide with fear. "Your Honor," Tom said, "I apologize for the interruption. We have a warrant for Andrew Mitchell's arrest for wire fraud and embezzlement." Blackwood leapt up. "Your Honor, this is improper." "So is stealing $3.2 million from clients," Judge Coleman said dryly. "Agents, wait until we conclude. Mr. Mitchell isn't going anywhere." Andrew slumped in his chair. His phone buzzed nonstop on the table, his mom, his partner James, Nain, again and again. "Based on the evidence," Judge Coleman said, "I grant the emergency injunction. Marital assets are frozen pending investigation. Mrs. Mitchell gets exclusive use of the home and $10,000 monthly support. Mr. Mitchell, stay 500 feet from your wife. $10,000 a month?" Andrew exploded, ignoring Blackwood's tug. "That's outrageous. She doesn't need. Mr. Mitchell, you left your wife in a storm after hiding millions. I'm tempted to hold you in contempt. Sit." My phone rang. Jennifer's name flashed. I ignored it, but she called repeatedly. Rebecca leaned over. "Log those calls." I nodded, screenshotting the call log. 17 from Jennifer in the last hour, 43 from Andrew since last night, 22 from his mom, Margaret, and a few unknowns, likely his colleagues or clients hearing of the federal probe. Tom Chin approached our table as the judge finalized her ruling. "Mrs. Mitchell, we'll need your help with our investigation. Your lawyer mentioned more evidence." I nodded. 8 months of records, tapes, emails, everything. "Good. If convicted, your husband faces 15 to 20 years." Andrew overheard, jumping up, pointing at me. "You planned this. You trapped me." Judge Coleman's gavel slammed. "Mr. Mitchell, sit, or I'll add contempt charges." "She set me up," Andrew shouted, his composure gone. "The recordings, the documents, she knew I'd leave her there." "So, you admit you abandoned her?" Judge Coleman asked sharply. Blackwood yanked Andrew down, but it was too late. He'd confessed in open court, with federal agents watching, to stranding me. As we prepared to leave, Nain burst through the courtroom doors. Her designer dress was wrinkled, her perfect hair disheveled. Her eyes locked on Andrew, blazing with rage. "You lied about being divorced," she screamed. "You said the papers were filed, that she was crazy, making it all up." The judge sighed. "Ma'am, leave my courtroom now." Nain waved her phone. "I've got texts, recordings. He swore we'd marry, that the money was his." Tom Chin's eyes lit up. He approached her gently. "Ma'am, we need to talk." Andrew's world collapsed. His mistress was turning on him, his accounts frozen, federal agents waiting to cuff him. His perfect image shattered in under an hour. Outside, leaving Andrew with the agents, my phone buzzed. "Margaret, his mom, happy now? You ruined a good man over petty jealousy." I deleted it. Margaret would soon learn her son was no saint. He was a crook, exposed. I didn't destroy him, he did that himself. Reporters swarmed the courthouse steps as we exited. A clerk must have tipped them off, recognizing Andrew's name from finance news. Microphones thrust toward us as Rebecca guided me through, her grip firm on my elbow. "Mrs. Mitchell, did your husband really steal millions?" "Audrey, how long were you planning this? Are you filing more charges?" Rebecca cut through the chaos. "My client has no comment." The federal investigation is ongoing. We reached Marcus's truck. Across the street, a news van was setting up. By tonight, Andrew's face would be on every local channel. Minneapolis's star hedge fund manager, arrested for embezzlement and fraud. Margaret must be fuming. Back at the hotel, I sank onto the couch. Rebecca handed me water. My phone kept buzzing with messages: shock, blame, support. My hairdresser texted, "Saw the news. Proud of you, girl." Andrew's golf buddy, Richard, "This is a mix-up, right? Andrew wouldn't do that." 3 neighbors sent similar messages, "We always sensed he was shady." The most intriguing came from James Morrison, Andrew's partner. "Audrey, we need to meet. I know things about the fund not in the federal filing." Rebecca read it over my shoulder. "Set it up. Record everything." At 4 p.m., the news broke. The headline scrolled across the screen: "Top hedge fund manager arrested for embezzlement after abandoning wife." Andrew's mug shot was already up, hair a mess, suit swapped for jail clothes. The reporter stood outside my house, mine alone now, detailing the scandal. Sources say Andrew Mitchell left his wife stranded 37 miles from home in last night's storm. Today, federal agents arrested him for embezzling $3.2 million from clients. Audrey Mitchell declined to comment. My phone rang. Jennifer again. I answered. "Audrey, let me explain. You told him about Mom's will, Dad's trust fund, her Alzheimer's." Silence. Then, softly, he said he was helping. That you were too stressed to handle it, that he was protecting you. He paid my gambling debts. I thought he loved you, that he cared. I remembered Jennifer's calls over the past year, her casual questions. "How's Mom? Seen her lawyer? Remember Dad's Wisconsin property?" She'd been feeding Andrew intel. "He used you," I said. "Just like he used me." "I'm so sorry, Audrey. When I saw the news, realized what he did, I've been sick. Can we meet?" Rebecca shook her head, but Jennifer's broken tone made me pause. She sounded genuinely crushed, not just scared. "Tomorrow, neutral spot. Come alone." After hanging up, Marcus opened his laptop. "You need to see this." Andrew's company Facebook page was imploding. Clients demanded their money back. Ex-employees shared stories of suspicious activities. One wrote, "He fired me for questioning missing funds last year. Now I know why." Nane's Instagram post was the real bomb. She shared their texts, photos from trips funded with stolen money, and a long caption. He said his wife was unstable, blocking his divorce, threatening to ruin him. I bought it. He was so smooth, so polished. I was a fool, but he was a master liar. The photos stung. Andrew and Nane in first class to Paris, toasting with champagne. At the Mexican resort where we'd celebrated our 5th anniversary. In our bed. She posted that one, but Instagram pulled it quickly. By 6 p.m., Margaret issued a statement through her lawyer. Rebecca read it, barely hiding her amusement. "The Mitchell family is stunned by these claims. This is a calculated attack by a spiteful wife after Andrew's money. He's an honorable man, targeted by a scheming woman who married him for wealth." "She's sticking with that story?" Marcus asked. "After everything the court heard?" My phone rang again, an unknown number. Against Rebecca's advice, I answered. "Mrs. Mitchell, Patricia Huang, Wall Street Journal. We're covering fraud in small hedge funds. Your husband's case fits a pattern we're investigating. Can you share your story?" Rebecca took the phone. "I'm Audrey Mitchell's lawyer. Direct press inquiries to my office." She hung up and faced me. "By tomorrow, this is national news. Andrew didn't just ruin himself, He's exposing a web of corrupt fund managers. The FBI's digging deeper. I stared out the window at the city lights. Somewhere in a cell, Andrew was likely scheming with Blackwood, desperate to twist the truth. But no one could spin away videos, confessions, and millions in stolen cash. My phone pinged. David Brennan, Andrew's top client. Mrs. Mitchell, several of us victims are suing your husband. You're not our target, we know you're a victim too. We'd like you to testify about what you saw. The irony was sharp. Andrew always said I was too dumb for finance, too naive for business. Now his clients needed my voice to bury him. As the sun set over Minneapolis, casting a glow like justice, I knew Andrew's public fall was just beginning. Tomorrow would bring more headlines, more secrets, more people exposing the man they'd trusted with their savings. But tonight, for the first time in 3 years, I sat in quiet peace, free from his footsteps, his moods, his cruel words meant to shrink me. The man who left me in the rain had brewed his own storm, and now he was sinking in it. The next morning, a knock at my hotel door startled me. Through the peephole, I saw Jennifer, a wreck, hair tangled, eyes swollen, clutching a manila envelope. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. We said neutral location. I couldn't wait, Audrey. You need to know this before I talk to the FBI this afternoon. Marcus appeared in the doorway, watchful. I nodded it was okay and let her in. She sat on the couch's edge, hands trembling as she set the envelope down. Andrew reached out 13 months ago, she whispered. He knew about my gambling debts, $47,000 to dangerous people. He offered to pay if I answered questions about our family's money. I said yes. My voice stayed cold. You were desperate. They were going to ruin my career. Andrew seemed like he cared. He said you were too proud to ask Mom and Dad for help, that he wanted to fix things quietly. She opened the envelope, revealing printed emails. I read the first, from over a year ago. Andrew's words were warm, almost brotherly, saying he wanted to be a better husband, to understand our family, to support me. He kept asking about Mom, Jennifer said, tears falling. Her health, her mind, her money. I thought he was planning something kind, like better care for her. You told him about her Alzheimer's. She nodded, sobbing. Mom swore me to secrecy, she didn't want you stressed, said Andrew was already too controlling. But he seemed so worried, so genuine, asking if he could help. I scanned the emails. Andrew's questions grew sharper over time. What properties did our parents have? Any trusts? Who handled their wills? Jennifer answered it all, thinking she was helping her sister's husband care for us. Last month, he wanted Mom to sign papers, she said. He called them insurance forms to protect her assets if her health declined. I took them to her. Thank God her lawyer was there and saw they were property transfers. That's when I knew he was lying. My phone buzzed. David Brennan, on speaker so Marcus could hear. Mrs. Mitchell, sorry to call, but this is big. I reviewed client files all night. Andrew didn't just steal from the fund, he targeted elderly clients, especially widows. What do you mean, targeted? Take Mrs. Eleanor Hartley, 78. Her husband died, left her everything, with Andrew managing her portfolio. Within 6 months, he got her to sign power of attorney papers, saying it was for trades. He used it to empty her accounts. My stomach turned. I'd met Eleanor at company parties, a kind woman who loved her grandkids. How much did he take? $800,000. Worse, he convinced her she was forgetting things, that she'd okayed withdrawals. He gaslit her into thinking she had dementia. Marcus scribbled notes for Rebecca. This wasn't just fraud, Andrew preyed on the vulnerable. I have recordings, David said. I started taping our meetings 2 years ago when I spotted issues. I was scared to act. Andrew had powerful friends. But with him in custody, I'm ready to share everything. Jennifer pulled one last paper from her envelope. There's more, about Dad's estate. Dad died 5 years ago, leaving what I thought was a small inheritance for us both. But this document showed a trust in my name only, set up before he died. He knew about my gambling, Jennifer said softly. He loved me but didn't trust me with money. So, he made this for you, with Mom as trustee. It's $2 million. Andrew learned about it through me and has been trying to get it for months. I stared at the paper. $2 million Dad hid to shield it from Jennifer's addiction, and, unknowingly, from Andrew's greed. It was in a small Wisconsin bank Andrew wouldn't have found without her. We need to see Mom, Jennifer urged. Today. She's holding something for you, something she kept secret even from me. She said she'd know when the time was right. An hour later, we sat in Mom's room at the memory care facility. She was sharp today, her eyes clear as she gripped my hand. I saw through Andrew the moment I met him, she said, her voice firm. He sized up our house like it was a balance sheet, always steering talk to money. Your dad noticed it too. She pulled a small key from her bedside drawer. Safety deposit box. First National Bank on Hennepin. Your father left things there before he died. Documents. Proof. Proof of what, Mom? Andrew tried forging your signature last year, loans, property transfers. The bank manager, your dad's friend, tipped me off and sent copies. They're in the box. I held the key, feeling its weight. Dad had been guarding me from beyond, and Mom had protected his plan despite her fading memory. There's more, she said, squeezing my hand. The FBI visited yesterday, not just about Andrew's arrest. His name came up in a 3-year probe into fund managers defrauding elderly clients across 5 states. The air felt thin. Andrew's stunt in the rain wasn't just cruelty, he knew the FBI was closing in. He wanted me broken, either to hide behind me or pin it all on me. He never thought you'd fight, Mom said, a faint smile breaking through. Men like him mistake kindness for weakness. They're always shocked when they're wrong. As we left, Mom squeezed my hand again. Your dad would be so proud. You're tougher than Andrew ever dreamed. Driving away, Jennifer beside me, Marcus trailing in his truck, I thought about Andrew's web of lies. Each new truth exposed another layer of his crimes. He wasn't just a lousy husband or shady manager, he'd ruined countless lives. But he misjudged me. He thought the woman he left in the rain would stay there, crushed. Instead, I became the storm that would tear down everything he built on others' pain. First National Bank on Hennepin loomed like a vault of old secrets. Jennifer waited in the car while Marcus joined me inside, where Mom's guarded safety deposit box sat in a chilled vault. Mr. Polson, the manager, remembered Dad fondly and treated the key with care. Inside the box, documents made my hands shake. Forged loan papers with my signature, dated 6 months back. Transfer forms for Grandma's lake house, which Andrew tried to sell behind my back. Bank statements from accounts in my name, controlled by him. Dad's handwritten notes explained each one. One note, on a fake power of attorney, read, "He'll try to take it all. Don't let him." Marcus snapped photos of every page as I sat, stunned. Andrew's betrayal kept growing, like a stain spreading. He wasn't just stealing our marriage or millions, he'd been erasing my financial existence, maybe even setting me up to take his fall. 4 months later, I stepped into the federal courthouse for Andrew's trial. News vans crowded the street, reporters shouting questions I ignored. I wore a sharp charcoal suit, bought just for this, never touched by our shared closet. Professional, poised, costly enough to show I wasn't defeated. Andrew sat at the defense table, his suit ill-fitting, his perfect hair grown out messily. Our eyes met, and I gave him the calm smile I used to flash over coffee when he'd scold my spending. Now, it carried the weight of his downfall. Prosecutor Michael Torres laid it out: 12 counts of wire fraud, 2 of elder abuse, 1 of conspiracy. The evidence was ironclad: faked records, hidden accounts, forgeries, recordings of Andrew plotting to rob clients. For 11 days, witnesses testified. Elderly clients shared how Andrew tricked them into signing confusing papers. Ex-employees admitted to fudging records on his orders. A forensic accountant traced his maze of offshore accounts and shell companies. On day 12, Nain Rodriguez walked in. Gone was the glamorous assistant in my pearls. She wore a plain dress, hair in a simple bun, granted immunity to testify against Andrew. Ms. Rodriguez, Torres began, how long were you involved with the defendant? 18 months, she said, voice steady but soft. Did he ever talk about his business practices? All the time. He bragged about moving money undetected, called it playing 3D chess while others played checkers. She played phone recordings, Andrew gloating about targeting elderly clients, hiding money from me, planning to flee to Costa Rica. In one, his voice unmistakable, he said, Audrey's the perfect shield. Sweet, trusting, never asks questions. By the time she catches on, I'll be gone, and she'll take the fall. Nain's final blow came late in her testimony. 3 weeks before his arrest, he told me he'd leave me too. He had another woman in Costa Rica, someone he met online. He planned to ditch me just like he ditched his wife. Andrew's face was priceless, jaw slack, lawyer whispering frantically. Nain had exposed him as a liar to everyone, even her. The next day, a young man named Christopher Walsh took the stand, 22, with Andrew's sharp jaw and cunning eyes. The prosecutor quickly revealed his identity: Andrew's secret son from a college fling, hidden for over 2 decades. My mom got $1,500 monthly from Andrew for 22 years, Christopher said. Hush money to keep me a secret. It came from his client accounts. I watched Andrew slump as Christopher went on. He threatened to ruin my mom's finance career if she ever spoke about me. She has his threats in writing. The prosecutor showed 22 years of bank records, payments drawn from the same accounts Andrew looted. He'd stolen from clients not just for luxury or escape, but to bury his past. Andrew's lawyer objected, calling it irrelevant, but Judge Coleman shut him down. It shows a lifetime of deceit and financial crimes. On the last day, Andrew ignored Blackwood's protests and took the stand. He thought he could charm his way out, like always. For 2 hours, he painted himself as the victim. He lied that I knew about his affairs and was fine with them. He claimed clients approved every transaction. He called himself a genius who made simple accounting mistakes. The prosecutor's cross-examination broke him. Faced with recordings, Andrew said they were misunderstood. Shown forgeries, he hinted I faked them. Confronted with the hush money, he mumbled, that was personal, not business. The jury took under 3 hours. As the foreman stood, I gripped Marcus's and Rebecca's hands. Count 1, wire fraud, guilty. Count 2, wire fraud, guilty. By count 15, Andrew's head was in his hands. Guilty on every charge. The man who stranded me in the rain 37 miles from home was about to feel true abandonment. 2 weeks later, at sentencing, Judge Coleman stared at Andrew with disgust. You preyed on society's most vulnerable, betrayed clients, colleagues, and family, and showed no remorse. This court sentences you to 96 months in federal prison, no early release. 8 years. Andrew would rot for 8 years. As bailiffs moved to take him, he mouthed at me, this isn't over. I stood, voice clear for the microphones. You're right. Civil suits start next month. Bailiffs led Andrew away in chains. I walked into a September afternoon that felt like spring. The civil suits, with 17 victims seeking justice, were Rebecca's fight now. I had bigger plans. 6 weeks after Andrew's sentencing, a $1.2 million whistleblower reward came through for my evidence that recovered stolen funds. Combined with the court-awarded assets, our house, cars, investments I'd fought to reclaim, and the $2 million trust fund my father had hidden, I had the means to turn pain into purpose. No more hiding. It was time to build something lasting. Marcus scoured listings tirelessly, knowing we needed a space that was both safe and welcoming. One afternoon, he burst into my temporary apartment, grinning. "I found it," he said, showing me photos of a renovated Victorian in Minneapolis's Whittier neighborhood, once a law firm. 3 stories, 8 offices, a spacious conference room, and multiple exits, crucial for women escaping danger. We toured it the next day. High ceilings and hardwood floors hummed with possibility. Sunlight poured through tall windows, casting warm patterns. I pictured women here, sharing their stories, safe at last. Marcus nodded at the sturdy front door. "Good bones. We can secure it without making it feel like a prison." Signing the lease felt like a triumph. On a crisp Thursday, the ink dried as I envisioned the sign, Phoenix Foundation. By Monday, we were moving in boxes, setting up desks, turning empty rooms into havens. The name hit me like lightning, rising from ashes, stronger. That's what we'd offer, rebirth. Marcus dove into security. "We need the best," he said, pacing the rooms with his tablet. "Panic buttons in every office, linked to police. Biometric locks, no lost keys. Cameras at entrances, protecting, not spying." His bodyguard contacts brought in experts, and within days, the building was wired into a safe zone. Valentina arrived midweek, hauling filing cabinets and encryption software. "3 forensic accountants want to volunteer," she said, eyes bright. "The finance world's furious about Andrew, they want to help stop others like him." She set up a secure server, teaching me to track hidden assets discreetly. "This isn't just shelter," she said. "It's a weapon against financial abuse." Rebecca took leave from her practice to handle the legal side. She spread incorporation papers across the conference table, marking changes. "We're dealing with volatile cases, angry spouses, legal threats. Our nonprofit status, liability waivers, and police partnerships must be ironclad." Her expertise built a legal fortress. By week's end, we had bylaws, a board, and pro bono agreements locked in. Our first client arrived a month later. Maria, a teacher, called in a panic. Her husband had drained their savings and threatened immigration reports, despite her citizenship. Valentina found the hidden accounts in hours. Rebecca filed for divorce and an asset freeze. Marcus arranged discreet transport in an unmarked van. I sat with Maria as she cried, her words echoing my own pain. "He made me feel worthless," she whispered. I held her hand, recalling my hotel room tears. "You're not alone," I said. "We'll get you through." Word spread fast. Calls flooded in, women trapped by controlling partners. We helped a nurse recover her retirement fund, a lawyer escape with her kids, a student break free from a manipulative boyfriend. Each victory fueled us, making Phoenix a beacon. Jennifer arrived on a rainy Tuesday, 3 months sober, with a box of donuts as a peace offering. "I want to help," she said. "I know manipulation, desperation, betraying loved ones. I can help others spot the signs." Her eyes carried regret for leaking our family's secrets to Andrew. We started her on phones and filing, but Jennifer shone with crisis callers. Her voice calmed them, her understanding of shame and addiction unmatched. "I've been there," she'd say softly. Within 6 months, she led our support groups, sharing how Andrew used her gambling debts for information. He made it seem like help, she'd explain. It was control. Women nodded, seeing their own stories, learning to spot red flags. Mom visited on a clear day, Marcus driving her through the city she once knew. In my office, she studied framed photos, women beaming at new homes, graduations, with safe kids. These were success stories, shared with permission, proof of lives rebuilt. Your dad would be so proud, she said, touching a photo of a mom in nursing school, her 3 kids smiling. He always said kindness beats cruelty's revenge. Her words warmed me, linking me to a past Andrew tried to erase. She handed me an envelope. Inside, a prison newsletter clipping, Andrew, elected treasurer of the inmates' investment club, still playing the financial genius. I chuckled at the irony, a fraudster managing pretend funds behind bars. 7 months after the trial, Nain Rodriguez walked into our reception area, a shock that stopped me cold. No more glamour, her hair was short, her clothes simple slacks and a button-down, her demeanor humble. I've been in therapy, she said, sitting in my office. Unpacking why I fell for Andrew, ignored the warnings, helped hurt you. I can't undo it, but I can warn others. She spoke at colleges, cautioning business students about powerful men offering career boosts for favors. Her honesty was raw, owning her choices while exposing the slow grooming. It starts small, she'd say. Compliments, opportunities, until you're hooked. One evening, to grad students, she shared, he made me feel elite, smarter than my peers. By the time I saw I was disposable, escape felt impossible. A year after sentencing, Andrew's letter arrived. His perfect script filled 4 pages of prison paper, raging that I'd orchestrated his fall, listing every clue he'd missed in my supposed trap. It ended, "Did I hope you learned your lesson." I framed it, hanging it beside my diplomas. When clients asked, I told the truth, yes, I learned. Believe cruelty when you see it. Patience defeats abuse. Become unbreakable, then lift others up. 18 months after that rainy night, I stood in my office, gazing at a wall of 87 thank you cards. Each marked a woman Phoenix saved, some with legal aid, others with safe houses or new identities. They arrived broken, believing escape was impossible. Eleanor Hartley, Andrew's defrauded widow, became our top donor. Lawsuits returned her funds, she poured them into our shelters. At a gala, she said, Andrew tried erasing my sanity. Audrey helped me reclaim my power. Rain tapped the Victorians' windows, a home for renewal. I recalled that night, drenched 37 miles from home, Andrew speeding away, certain he'd won. He aimed to teach control, submission. Instead, he proved cruelty self-destructs, actions rebound, and the abandoned might foresee the storm and prepare. Phoenix turned his malice into salvation for overlooked women. His unseen lesson wasn't dominance, it was transformation. He sought to leave me powerless in the rain. I became the refuge. If this justice story hooked you, hit like now. My top moment, Court in my bold suit, smiling serenely at Andrew like over breakfast. Your favorite revenge? Comment below. If you are watching this video right now, I would love to know where are you watching from. Drop it in the comments section below. Hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories about family relationships that take unexpected turns.